We've got a special guest, George Simon. He's an official, and we're going to be talking with him about a special play. First, let's take 30 seconds for this. And first of all, we want to say welcome to George Simon. George, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And George, as an official, of course, you and I see each other a lot of ball games, get a chance to talk, but you're always down the floor and I'm up here, so it's good to have you up here just for a few moments before you go down to officiate.
Thank you.
And we want to ask you a specific question about a foul concerning shooting foul. A player shooting the ball, and the other night, Jimmy Miller was called for goaltending and a personal foul. They gave the bucket and a one-on-one. Explain the interpretation of how that comes to one-on-one.
Well, simply because once the ball leaves a shooter's hand, technically the shot is in the air. Therefore, if it goes in, of course it would be good. And if there's contact after the ball leaves the shooter's hand, of course it becomes a one-and-one because he's already shot the ball.
All right, so then he's, as far as you're saying, what you're saying is that once the ball leaves his hand, he's divorced from that ball.
That's correct, Glenn.
Okay. So we understand that. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. You've officiated a lot of ball games. You've seen a lot of ball games around the area. Who's the best high school ball club you've seen this year?
Well, Glenn, I've worked in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 high school games already this year, and I have had a chance to see Bluefield, Princeton, Mount View, Big Creek, North Fork, Mullins. I would rate North Fork right now as perhaps of the teams that I've worked this year right at the top. Although Bluefield, I think on any given night could beat most anyone in the state.
You're probably right on that. They probably could. They've got it very explosive. But George, don't you think that probably basketball in our area is a little more competitive this year than it has been in a while?
Yes, it is. And I'd like to say this, Glenn. I have worked Princeton already twice this year, and I think after the youngsters get the game experience that they badly need, I think near the end of the season, Princeton will be right in there with them, with Norfolk and Bluefield. I think they'll be able to compete with either one of the clubs later on during the season after they gain the experience that they need.
George, I'll buy you a hamburger for saying that.
Thank you.
George, we know you got to get back down the floor, but listen, we appreciate you coming up to visit with us and hope you have a nice and safe trip back up into McDowell County tonight.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I'd like to say that I've listened to you a little bit on radio, and you do certainly a fine job. People in Princeton should be proud of you.
Well, thank you. I'll buy you a hamburger for that, too. Okay. We'll be back with more right after this. All right, as we're back at the gymnasium, I got Bob Graham and Ann Mitter aboard. Welcome aboard, Bob.
Well, thank you, Glenn. And if you're going to buy all those hamburgers, I'll take one when you start buying them.
I'll meet you at the cow shed Friday evening.
Okay.
And welcome aboard. I'll meet you at the cow shed.
Sounds good, Glenn. Sounds good. I'll take a hamburger.
Somebody goes say, man, what in the world's going on in the cow shed? We should explain that. There's a place in Pineville. Now, we'll be in Pineville Friday night where the Tigers have to play the Minutemen. And Bob works in Pineville, so we're going to meet him up there. And we're going to meet at the cow shed and have dinner. So that's really, we're not doing anything out behind the barn.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And it's a very nice restaurant in Pineville, and some of the people who might go to that game might be, it's up on toward Oceana from Pineville, and it is a pretty good place to eat in the Pineville area.
Bob, you digested the game now the other night against Oak Hill. Oak Hill's certainly one of the better ball clubs in the state, a good ball club. Princeton played with them all the way and finally let it get away from them in the last couple of minutes. Can you explain that to us any?
Well, I think it's the thing that the official alluded to, Mr. Simons, and that is that Princeton needs the experience to stay with these teams. And to me, one of the most important factors is that Huntington, Beckley, Oak Hill started all seniors and played an awful lot of seniors, and Princeton gets a lot of help from Bill Harmon, who does an excellent job for them. But other than Bill, they really cannot count on any seniors, and the juniors that they do have are very young individuals. And so I think experience in Friday night's game was a big factor in the way that game turned out.
And can you add to that for us?
I'd have to agree with that, Glenn. As we said, the first night out, when we saw the Tigers play down at Hinton, the first time they played them, they're a young team. They're inexperienced in terms of varsity action. Most of these fellows saw a great deal of action at the junior varsity level last year, but that's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different picture. It's like the difference really many people say the difference in high school ball and college ball, that it's just a completely different atmosphere. The pressures are different. The competition is different. The whole atmosphere of the game is different. And based on that, I would say that I would have to agree with George Simons that late in the season, these fellas can probably compete with anybody.
All right, let me ask you a question now as a coach. Going back to some of the playing days way back when, playing on a team that possibly had as good a talent, but maybe on a given day weren't as good, if we got momentum and got a lead, we could play with a lot of people. Now, things got tight on us, or we got behind, we got a little more nervous, we pressed, we choked, we maybe panicked a little bit. Experience is the only thing that cures that, isn't it?
Right. You can't really get into personalities on that. If you take an experienced ball player and an inexperienced ball player, put them in a situation where the game is tight, the emotions are high, the pressures are high, I would have to place my money on the experienced player, and that's really what Princeton was up against the other night. Those Oak Hill players, I remember many of those faces from last year playing varsity basketball, and anytime you face people in a close game like that and the pressure is tight, the inexperience is going to show up, and the only thing, as you say, the only medicine for that is more experience, more game time, and taking a few hard knocks and coming back from it.
As a coach, they always told me there were three things that you couldn't coach. One of those was size, the other one was speed, and the third one was experience.
I would have to agree with that, and I would say of those three, inexperience takes the most time to overcome. With size, you can teach people to position. With quickness and speed, you can teach people, again, to get position. You can teach them to compensate for their speed with finesse and so forth. But inexperience is something that only time can heal, I believe, and only time can create an experienced ball player.
Bob, when we were up at Hinton the other time, the Tigers came out with the biggest quarter they've had all year, 38 points in the second quarter, and just absolutely blew the game loose. And I don't remember shooting percentage on that, but it seemed to me like Princeton hit about 70% in that second quarter, something like that. Do you anticipate something like that again tonight, or do you anticipate Coach Kales having a Bobcat sit on the ball a little bit?
Well, I don't know exactly what to anticipate, except that Hinton has changed their starting lineup a little bit from the last time when we were down in Hinton. He has a couple of new people starting in the lineup, and I don't know exactly what he will do in this ball game tonight. But the first quarter down to Hinton was relatively close, 14-6, and then Princeton scored 38 points in the second quarter, 28 in the third, and 32 in the fourth quarter, and Hinton just couldn't stay with Princeton.
Well, they scored that 38 points, it seemed to me like they held Hinton to, 18?
18.
So it opened up a big bulge right there, didn't it?
Right, it sure was. Now, by changing this lineup, he may have some more speed in this Hinton lineup than he had the last time.
Okay, we're going to be back with basketball first. Let's pause 30 seconds for this.
Whatever I may be sorry.
Okay, Ann's worried about getting tangled up in her gator gum. Of course, you know, they always told me, Ann, that a lot of ball players who become coaches had trouble walking and chewing gum at the same time.
That is very true.
Okay. So we're getting ready for basketball. The co-captains out right now. The officials tonight will be George Simon and Walt Nixon. Walt Nixon from across the mountain over at Herndon. Of course, George Simon from up in McDowell County up at Welch, on the faculty up at Welch. Walt Nixon is the head football coach at Herndon High School. Is that right, Bob?
Right.
And the co-captains, John Kales. Is that in relation to Charles Kales, the coach?
Sure is. It's his younger brother.
Okay. And we're ready for the starting lineups, and we'll be ready for basketball.
First for head coach Eddie Kales for the Bobcats of Hinton High School. At forward, wearing number 41, John Kales.
As introduced, John Kales, first off for the Bobcats. And John's a pretty husky-looking lad.
Herbie Smith.
And Herbie Smith going out with him.
At center, wearing number 21, T.J. Humphrey.
And T.J. Humphreys. Now, T.J. maybe not as big as he is, but he's a leaper.
Wayne Ryan.
And Wayne Ryan going out. And Jeff Williams will be the other backcourt man. And we're waiting for the Tigers now. Coach Ralph Ball, is Coach Ball talking to them quietly on the bench.
At forward, wearing number 32, 6'5",
And they're starting James DeWitt tonight as a sophomore. And then a little bit of surprise, James doesn't have his warm-up off yet. Bill Harmon going out. Bill with the other forward, a senior.
At center, wearing number 40, 6'7" junior Jimmy Miller.
And Jimmy Miller. Jimmy's the wheelhouse to the outfit. He revolves in that middle. It runs around him. And the Magicians, the backcourt duo of Mike Eads and Jeff St. Clair. And Tom warned me again tonight. Make sure I keep him out of the starting lineup. I get excited every once in a while I call Jeff Tom. I had Tom with about 13 points down. I think. So I got to watch that. And we're ready for basketball now. We'll have T.J. Humphreys in to jump against Jimmy Miller. The Tigers still in the huddle. Now they break the huddle and move out. The Hinton Bobcats standing around center circle waiting on the Tigers. Tigers coming out, and it'll be Miller against Humphreys as the players acknowledging each other's presence on the floor, wishing everybody well. As Humphreys is in the center circle waiting. Now Miller is in. Now we're waiting on the official. The official's in, and the tip is controlled by the Tigers as DeWitt picks it up. DeWitt moves it to the front court for the Tigers and gives it to St. Clair, and the Tigers will start to move. The Bobcats into a 2-1-2 zone, and DeWitt firing from the left side. Got it from 12 feet. James DeWitt hits it for the Tigers, and the Tigers will press as Williams brings the ball to the front court for the Bobcats. Brings it to the top of the key into the lane. Has a knock loose. Scramble on the floor. Gives it to the right side to Humphreys. Goes under, puts it up. Got it. T.J. Humphreys driving. Got it on the flange and rolled it in. 2-2 now. Early in the ball game. But St. Clair comes to the offense for the Tigers. DeWitt left side. To Miller low post into the lane. Spinning fires off the flange. No good. Rebound. Comes down to Kale for the Bobcats. Out to Williams. Gets it to Ryan. Into the front court. Holds it up now. Waits for somebody to come to him. It's Herbie Smith. Comes out front with him. Looks underneath, and they go to Humphreys going down the lane. Goes under, puts it up. We got a whistle and a traveling call. As Humphreys called for traveling going down that lane. He was trying to beat Miller, and he may have double clutched it as he saw a chance to get around Jimmy. St. Clair will bring it to the front court now for the Tigers. To Eads in the right corner, holds it up, gives it back out front to St. Clair, top of the key to left side to DeWitt, goes underneath, drops it to Miller on the low post, puts it on the glass, got it. Jimmy Miller, spinning, jump shot, left side on the glass. 4-2, Tigers up. As the Bobcats come back with Ryan, goes to the lane, DeWitt got a piece of that shot, but it went in anyway. As Ryan threw it up from about 12 feet, DeWitt got a piece of it, it still went in. We got a 4-4 ball game. Miller on the high post with it to Eads in the corner. He'll fire from 18 feet, good. Mike Eads, 18 feet away, got nothing but string. And the Tigers will press again now. Scales gives it to Williams. Williams on the dribble with it now. St. Clair putting the light pressure on. As Williams goes to the front court, gets it over to Smith. Smith into the corner with it to Ryan. Ryan goes toward the lane, fires from about 12 feet, comes down there to fight for it. Ryan picks it up, goes to Kales underneath, up and in. Kales got the snowbirdie. We got a 6-6 ball game now. As the Tigers come back to the offense. Against that Bobcat zone to the left side to DeWitt. And they go to Miller in the low post in the lane. Hooking on the iron. Comes off, tipped up by Harmon, no good. Ball comes out to DeWitt, loses it, picked up, scramble for it, comes out to the Bobcats. As Williams has it on the side now. As Herbie Smith moves it to the front court for the Bobcats. Gets it into the front court to Ryan. Ryan starts it down the lane. He'll fire from 8 feet. He's got it, and the Bobcats go on top of the Tigers. 8-6, first time tonight for the Bobcats to lead. And St. Clair brings it to the front court. To Eads on the right side. Into the corner with it. He'll fire from 14 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound kicked out to the Bobcats. As Smith comes into the front court with it for Hinton. On the dribble, holds it up. Waits for traffic to go by. To the right side to Ryan. Gives it back outside to Smith. To Williams, he'll fire from the near side from 12 feet. He's got it. And the Bobcats go out by 4 now. 10-6 over the Tigers. And St. Clair moves it to the front court for Princeton. Top of the key to the left side of DeWitt. DeWitt looks underneath to Miller. Miller, low post, puts it on the glass. Got it. Jimmy Miller, spinning jump shot, left side off the glass. And the Tigers are within 2 at 10-8. As Jeff Williams brings it to the front court. To Kales, the high post. Kick loose, picked up outside by Williams. Goes to the lane. He'll fire. Got it. Jeff Williams, 14 feet. 12-8, the Tigers are trailing. As Jeff St. Clair comes to the front court with it for Princeton. To Eads on the right side. Goes into the lane, has a knock loose, picked up by the Bobcats. And we got a foul on Eads. As Eads and Wayne Ryan contesting for the ball. Eads called for the foul. That's number 1 on Eads, number 1 on the Tigers. And it'll be out of bounds, or it'll be timeout to the Bobcats. So we've got a timeout on the floor. Let's take 30 seconds for this.
With Princeton down 12-8 to the Hinton Bobcats, one thing that shows up on the statistical charts is that in the first 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes and a half, all 5 Hinton starters have scored in this ball game, which is kind of unusual for the start of a ball game.
Right, a couple of interesting statistics down here. Hinton is 6 for 7 from the floor, and Princeton has not yet gotten a rebound.
And the press has been ineffective.
Right, very ineffective.
All right, the Bobcats to the offense now as Williams brings it to the front court for Hinton. Tigers trailing by 4 with 4:35 to play. And Pastor Ryan, he is fouled. Who's on?
DeWitt.
On DeWitt. Fouled by James DeWitt. That's number 1 on James. Team foul number 2 on the Tigers. And it'll be out to the Bobcats right down in front of us as Jeff Williams will inbound it. Holds it overhead. And he flips it in to T.J. Humphreys. Gives it right back to Williams. Williams in quarter court, right side now. Moves it outside on the dribble. Tigers playing a man-to-man defense, and we got a foul. As the pass going into John Kales was fouled from behind by Bill Harmon. And it's number 1 on Harmon. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers. And this foul situation, Hinton gets into where they're shooting free throws. They could make it rough on the Tigers.
Sure could. And this is a very good first quarter for the Hinton team.
As Ryan will inbound it for him. The Tigers playing it. An inbound pass intercepted by St. Clair. On the break. Goes down. Goes by Williams. Puts it up. No good. Rebound pulled out by the Bobcats as Humphreys comes off with it. Still dribbling with it in the backcourt to Ryan. Ryan gets it to the front court to Kales. Kales trying to get it back to Ryan, and it's knocked out of bounds. I think it went out of bounds off the back of DeWitt.
I think it was Bill Harmon. I thought it hit the Hinton player last. I thought him in the back of the head almost.
So the inbounds pass now comes into Williams of the Bobcats as he gets it over to Smith. Herbie on the dribble with it, gives it back to Williams. Williams will fire 20 feet. St. Clair got a piece of it. St. Clair got a piece of Williams. That's a foul on Jeff. And on Jeff, that is number 1. Team foul number 4, but that'll be a shooting foul. And that'll put Jeff Williams on the free throw line for the Bobcats. And the Tiger press has just been ineffective against the Bobcats. Well, they're playing a face-up man-to-man. They have not put the zone trap on, have they, Ann?
No, they still haven't done anything in terms of trap.
So Williams fires the first free throw. It's no good. He got front iron, side iron, and it rolled off. He'll have a second attempt. 4:02 to play in the first quarter. The Tigers trail by 4 as Williams fired the second one. He's got it. 13-8 now. Tigers down as St. Clair will bring it to the front court for the Tigers. To Eads on the right side on the wing position. Goes to the corner with it. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. Trying to get underneath. Has a bounce off of Harmon. Picked up by the Bobcats. As Ryan brings it into the front court. Smith brings it to the front court and now gives it to Williams. Williams looking for Kales. Got him. Kales goes to the lane. Feeds it over to the right side to Humphreys. Goes under. We got a whistle. And a 3-second violation called on the Bobcats.
Into the game now for the Tigers, number 3.
And we get John Hansberger in for the Tigers. St. Clair will get a rest. As DeWitt will inbound it for the Tigers. Now gets it into Hansberger. 13-8. Tigers trail as Hansberger brings it to the front court for Princeton. Moves it toward the right side. Has it tipped out of bounds by Herbie Smith. And coming into the ball game for the Bobcats will be John O'Neill. And coming out will be Jeff Williams. As Hansberger with the ball now for the Tigers. So Miller on the high post. Looks, backs it to the lane. Has a knock loose. And Williams, his checkhead as O'Neill come around behind him and fouled him as he was making a move. That's number 1 on O'Neill. Team foul number 1 on the Bobcats. It'll be out to the Tigers on the left side. As DeWitt will inbound it. DeWitt inbounds to Hansberger. Hansberger back to DeWitt, left side. Starts down the side. Gives it back outside to Hansberger, top of the key. To Eads on the far side. Goes to the corner with it. Gets it to DeWitt in the lane. He'll fire from 8 feet. Got it. James DeWitt, 8 feet away. Puts it in for the Tigers. 13-10 now. As the Tigers playing a face-up man-to-man as O'Neill brings it to the front court for Hinton. Still on the dribble with it. To Kale, high post. Gives it back on the give and go to O'Neill. Gives it outside to Smith. They get it over to Humphreys. He'll fire from the lane. No good. Rebound pulled out by the Tigers as DeWitt controls. DeWitt on the dribble with it. Brings it to the front court. Down the left side. Gives it to Hansberger. He'll do it to point position. To DeWitt left side. Goes to the corner. Back outside to Hansberger. He'll fire from 20 feet. Got it. Good. John Hansberger gets the Tigers within 1 now. As Herbie Smith with the ball on the far side for the Bobcats. Gets it to O'Neill. O'Neill on dribble. Holds it up in the back court. Gets it to the front court to Smith. Works on Hansberger. Fires over him. In and out. No good. Rebound underneath to Kales. He puts it up and in. John Kales puts it in. 15-13. Tigers trail by 3 with 2:19 to play in the first quarter. Hansberger to the offense for the Tigers. To Eads into the corner with it right side. Drops it to Miller, low post. Goes to the lane. Fine play. Puts it up and in as Miller wheels into that lane. Puts it up and in. Jimmy gets the Tigers within one at 15-14. Herbie Smith brings it to the front court for the Bobcats now. Still on the dribble with it as Eads picks him up. And as he passed, trying to get it to Humphreys, picked off by Miller. Miller gives to Eads, and the Tigers go to the offense as Eads goes into the lane. Fires. No good. Miller tips. Got it. Jimmy Miller. Man on the spot. Tips it up and in, and the Tigers get on top. 16-15. As O'Neal dribbling in the backcourt, gets it to the front court to Kales, and they throw it loose. It's knocked out of bounds, but I think Harmon swatted it out of bounds, so it'll be out to the Bobcats, and we get Stephon Murray into the ballgame for the Tigers for Bill Harmon. 16-15, Tigers up by 1 as Humphreys with the ball for the Bobcats now. Goes to the corner with it, holds it up, looks underneath, and trying to get it out to Smith. Hasn't knocked loose. Picked up by Humphreys again, gives it to Smith now. He'll fire from 20 feet short. Rebound pulled down by Murray. Out to Eads on the break. Overthrew him out of bounds as the Tigers going on the fly pattern. And Bill Pendleton, that's on the fly pattern, buddy. Led it right on out of bounds. 16-15. Tigers up by 1 now. As O'Neal cautiously dribbling in the backcourt under pressure from Onsbarger. Gets it to the front court. Holds it up. Trying to get it into the middle to Kales. Has it picked off by Eads and Murray. Eads goes down into the lane. Puts it up. Got it. Eads on the fast break bucket for the Tigers. 18-15. Tigers up by 3 now as Murray fouls Kales in the backcourt. And Eads going down that drive a minute ago. Looks something funny on that drive or skipping a feet.
Looked like he drugged that back foot. I was marking something down here and really didn't see, but the Hinton fans seemed to think that there was something that just wasn't exactly right on there.
It looked like a travel of some kind. I wasn't sure what. But since the official didn't catch it, it was no travel. Now we'll have John Kales on the free throw line for the Bobcats. That foul was on Murray. That's his first one. That's team foul number 5 on the Tigers. 18-15. Tigers up with 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Kales will fire with the right hand. He puts it up way high, arching no good off the flange. Rebound to Miller of the Tigers. Out to DeWitt. DeWitt into the front court with the Tigers. Got 3 on 2. DeWitt throws it around to Eads, and he is fouled by O'Neal. As I thought DeWitt was going to shoot that.
That was a beautiful pass.
And that's foul number 2 on O'Neal. And team foul number 2 on the Bobcats. And we'll have Mike Eads on the free throw line right now. He'll shoot 2 shots. 18-15. Tigers up with 52 seconds to play in the first quarter. As the Tigers having a little trouble getting set on the free throw line just the way they want to. Now they've got it set. Eads fires. In and good. He put it in, it came back out and dropped back in. It's good. As Eads ready to fire again. He fires. Got it. 20-15. Tigers out by 5 now. As Ryan with the ball gets it to O'Neal for the Bobcats in the front court. Has it kicked loose by Onsbarger, and Onsbarger called for kicking the ball. It'll be out of bounds for the Bobcats. 46 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Tigers out 20-15. And O'Neal will inbound it for the Bobcats. As he gets it into Humphreys, goes to the baseline, and we've got a jump ball call as Jimmy Miller and Humphreys contesting for it when it went out of bounds. And the Hinton fans are a little upset with that for some reason. So it'll be Miller to jump against Humphreys. The way we started the ball game. And the tip control by the Tigers as Miller tips to Eads. Eads goes to the front court, lays it over to Onsbarger, lays it up and in. Tigers running with it and got it. 22-15 now. As Herbie Smith comes back to the front court, and we got an offensive foul on Herbie Smith. And it'll be on Herbie. That's foul number 1. Team foul number 3 on the Bobcats. And the fans getting a little bit rowdy. Is that the word?
You might use that word.
Yeah, he got a whoop of the personalities there, didn't he? So DeWitt inbounds it for the Tigers now to Onsbarger. And John moves it to the front court for the Tigers. Hinton into a 2-1-2 zone right now as DeWitt with the ball on the left side, back to Onsbarger to Eads on the right side. Looks underneath, gives it back to Onsbarger. Now they go to DeWitt on the left side. Looks at the clock with 20 seconds. They go to Eads in the lane, goes under, puts it up. Got it. Mike Eads into the lane, puts it up and in for the Tigers. As Herbie Smith tries to get it to the front court for the Bobcats now. As Murray playing the defense, and Murray called for the foul. And on Stephon, that'll be number 2. Team foul number 6 on the Tigers, so it's out of contention now. They'll shoot the 1-on-1s the rest of the half. Tigers leading 24-15 with 9 seconds to play in the first quarter. And we'll have Herbie Smith on the free throw line for the Bobcats to shoot a one-on-one. Smith fires. It is in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by DeWitt of the Tigers. Out to Eads. Eads on the move with it into the front court, into the lane. Pulls up, fires from 14 feet off the iron, no good. Rebound tipped around, still alive, and it's a buzzer. At the end of the first quarter of play, the Princeton Tigers 24, the Hinton Bobcats 15. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, we're back at Princeton High School, waiting for the second quarter tip-off. In the first quarter, Princeton had 11 field goals as compared to 7 for the Hinton Bobcats. Princeton hit 2 for 2 at the free line. Hinton hit 1 of 4 at the free throw line. The first quarter was an exceptionally good first quarter, and we were commenting that at Hinton, Princeton scored 38 points, and if they score 38 points in this second quarter here, this will be an exceptionally good first quarter, half of basketball. Ann, do you have some statistics on the rebound?
Sure do. Oddly enough, Hinton is out-rebounding Princeton 6-4. That's largely because there haven't been a whole lot of shots missed this game. Princeton is 11 for 17, Hinton is 7 for 11. So both teams have been shooting well. Hinton has just turned the ball over quite a few more times than Princeton has.
All right, the tip goes to DeWitt of the Tigers as the Tigers control. DeWitt takes it to the front court, gives it to Onsberger. John on the point guard position, takes it to the right side to Eads on the wing. To Miller on the low post, works the baseline, fires, got it. A pretty shot, 8 feet away, and Miller puts it in the net. 26-15, Tigers out now. As Jeff Williams back in the lineup for the Bobcats, gets it to the front court to Kales. To Herbie Smith, goes to the lane, he'll fire from 17 feet, no good. Rebound comes down to the floor, picked up by Humphreys. He puts it back up over the iron, no good. James DeWitt, high above the rim to pull that ball down. Gives it over to Onsberger, and John will move it to the front court for the Tigers now. To Eads. Eads on the wing, right side, takes it to the corner, looks underneath. He's got both posts. He's got DeWitt on the high post. Jump shot, got it from 16 feet. James DeWitt hitting a bucket for the Tigers, and we got a foul on the inbound plays with Mike Eads fouling Herbie Smith. And on Eads, that'll be foul number 2, and that'll put Smith on the free throw line for the Bobcats. 28-15 as the Tigers pick up 4 quick points against the Bobcats. The Tigers using a double post, a high and low post down there, and that time they went to Miller first time in low post, second time down they went to DeWitt on. 28-16 now. Tigers up by 12. 7:10 to play in the first half as Smith ready. Fires to the right hand on the flange off the front iron. No good. Rebound to DeWitt. DeWitt gives it to Onsberger. And John on the dribble with it now. Moves it to the front court. Starts it toward the right side. Looks for Eads. Goes to Eads. In the corner with it as Mike looks at the bucket. Goes to DeWitt on the high post. Jump shot. Got it again. About 12 feet that time and just poured it in. 30-16. And the Tigers have got the Bobcats time in the backcourt, and the upcourt pass intercepted by Eads, picked up by Williams, picked up by Eads. Eads flipped it to Onsberger, bodies all over the floor. Tigers to Miller, dunk shot. And Jimmy slam dunk. 32-16 now. The crowd comes alive. We got a whistle and a foul. And the foul will be on John Onsberger.
Don't suppose they think Jimmy hung on the rim, do you?
Oh, he did.
Not very long, Glenn.
Okay, it wasn't long. It's all a matter of time anyway. It's a matter of what degree, I guess. But Jimmy put down the slam dunk and brought the crowd aloud. So we'll have Jeff Williams on the free throw right now. And that foul on Onsberger was his first foul? Second foul, okay. And Williams, it's his first free throw, 32-17 now. And Williams ready to fire his second one now. 6:34 to play in the first half as Williams fires. Got it. 32-18. Tigers out in front as Onsberger brings it to the offense for the Tigers. Into the front court with it. Moves it toward the left side to DeWitt on the wing. As James holds it overhead, looks underneath, dribbles it one time, gives it back outside to Onsberger. They go to Murray on the wing on the right side. Stefan gives it back outside. Now to Eads on the left side. He'll fire off the iron. No good. Rebound goes to the floor. Picked up by Williams. Gets it out to Leffridge, who checked into the ball game. And Leffridge is a horse. But they give it to Williams. Williams into the front court with it now. Now Leffridge with the ball right side. Miller plays the defense on him. Leffridge trying to get it underneath to Ryan. is taken away by DeWitt. As DeWitt flips it over to Miller, to Osbarger, and the Tigers come to the offense. As John on the dribble with it for the Tigers. To DeWitt, left side. To Osbarger, top of the key, into the key. Fires from the free throw line. Rebound, comes over the iron out front. We got whistle and a traveling on Jeff Williams of the Bobcats. 32-18.
You mentioned that Lethbridge is a horse. He gets that rightfully. His father, I don't know whether you remember, was Dick Lethbridge, that was the fullback down at Hinton, went to WVU and played, and was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Too big. DeWitt goes down with it, has the ball thrown underneath, trying to get Miller knocked loose, picked up by the Bobcats. As the Bobcats come to the offense now, Herbie Smith firing from about 12 feet, got it. Herbie Smith as the Bobcats get within 12 for the Tigers. 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Princeton 32, Hinton 20. Hansbarger to Eads in the corner with the right side, goes toward the lane. He'll fire off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Wayne Ryan, and he is tied up by Mike Eads, and he'll jump it. It'll be Eads and Ryan to jump. Ryan may have an inch advantage on Eads, maybe 2 inches. They move in to jump. Tip control by the Bobcats as Herbie Smith comes up with it. Holds it, waits for traffic to clear it, puts it on the floor, starts it to the front court, gives it to Williams. Jeff comes to the right side, goes to the lane. He'll fire from the top of the key, off the side, no good. Rebound by Miller, taken away by Lethbridge, put up by Lethbridge, no good. Kales pulls it down, puts it up. We got a whistle and a foul underneath. And it's on the Tigers. Stephon Murray. Is that 3 on Murray?
That's 3 on Stephon.
He just checked in the ball game. Okay. And it'll put John Kales on the free throw line for the Bobcats, 32-20. Tigers up as Kales misses his first free throw. He'll have a second one. He was fouled in the act of shooting. As Harmon comes back into the ball game and Murray comes out.
For the Bobcats, number 41, John Kales.
Kales ready to fire again. He fires, got it. 32-21. Tigers up by 11. 5:02 to play in the first half as Onsbarger moves it to the front court for the Tigers. To the left side to DeWitt. DeWitt in the corner to Miller on the low post. Spinning, fires on the iron, no good. Tipped up by DeWitt. DeWitt up around the rim, kept it alive and got it. James DeWitt. As Williams will bring it to the front court for Hinton now. Behind the back dribble, knocked loose by Hansberger, picked up by Williams. Puts the shot up, no good. Rebound. Harmon's got it in heavy traffic. He is fouled by Jeff Williams from behind, I believe. As if it is Williams. It is on Williams. And we get St. Clair back in the ball game now. And that should be 1-1, shouldn't it? That's number 1 on Williams.
I've got number 4.
That's only 14 fouls. Okay. So Harmon will inbound to St. Clair. Princeton 34, Hinton 21. As the Tigers come to the offense, Eads with the ball, right side, wing position. On the dribble, gives it outside St. Clair, top of the key. To the left side, to DeWitt. Drops it underneath to Harmon on the baseline. He'll fire off the iron, no good. He is fouled by Lethbridge, I believe. It is on Lethbridge. And that daggone Lethbridge swinging at the ball, miss it, could break your arm. That's number 1 on Lethbridge. Team foul number 5 on the Bobcats. Let's see if Harmon may not be able to get the ball up there now after he got hit across the arm for that guy.
Into the game now for the Bobcats, number 15, Mike Albert.
I believe, didn't Dick Lethbridge play for Philadelphia at one time?
I believe he did. I think I remember when he was up there.
I was thinking it was Pittsburgh. It might have been Philadelphia.
Running back for him, wasn't he?
He didn't play very long, but I know he did play for one of the Pennsylvania teams.
Harmon puts the shot up. No good. Comes off to Lethbridge. Gives it outside to David Mann. Checked into the ballgame for the Bobcats. He gets it over to Herbie Smith. Herbie way out front, guarded by Eads. Looks for help. Gets it down to Humphreys. Humphreys goes to the baseline. He is fouled by DeWitt, I believe. And on DeWitt, that's foul number 2. As the Tigers could be getting into early foul trouble now.
Foul on Tigers number 32.
I believe last time they played Hinton, 3 Princeton starters fouled out plus. I think James fouled out down there, and he wasn't starting for Princeton then.
So
and they did get in quite a bit of foul trouble.
T.J. Humphreys on the free throw line to shoot a 1-on-1. He fires the first one. It's no good off the side iron. And Miller rips the rebound away from the board. Gets it out to Eads. Eads changes pace, goes into the lane down, puts it up. He is fouled by David Mann. And that'll be a shooting foul 1-on-1. Is that right, Bob? Would you check on those? Who the Tigers fouled out up at here?
I think I did, and I forgot who it was. James DeWitt did foul out. Schrader fouled out. Murray and Harmon both had 4 fouls. Miller had 4 fouls. Eads fouled out. So you did have 3 players foul out.
There was a bunch. As Eads puts both free throws up, he's got both of them. 37-21 now. Tigers up by 16 with 4:10 to play in the first half as Kales inbounds it for the Bobcats to Humphreys. Humphreys in the backcourt with it. As it loses control, picks it up, gets it to Kales, but he is fouled by Jimmy Miller. And Miller fouled Humphreys. That's number 1 on Jimmy. And really, that was a cheap foul. I guess Jimmy was in the backcourt. The ball was bouncing loose. He decided he'd take a swipe at it. I think he got Humphreys across the arm. As the Bobcats are going to huddle to change their defensive assignments right now. 37-21. Tigers up by 16 with 4 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the first half. We'll have T.J. Humphreys on the free throw line for the Bobcats, firing a 1-on-1. He fires. It's off the flange, no good. And Jimmy Miller again goes up and rips the ball away. Gives it over to St. Clair. St. Clair moves it to the front court. Miller rebounding with authority the last 2 times down to Eads. Eads will fire from the left side off the front iron, no good. Rebound picked up by Leffridge of the Bobcats. Kicks it over to Mann. Mann on the dribble with it. Moves it to the front court. To Kales. Kales drives the lane, leaves it for Humphreys. Goes on the lane, has it knocked loose, and Eads comes out of the scramble with it. We got a traveling call. There's a lot of scrambling, a lot of traffic around the ball right there, and Eads finally emerged with it and couldn't get his feet on the floor in time or something. So David Mann will inbound it for the Bobcats, and they're trying to get it over to Herbie Smith. It's knocked loose, picked up by Kales, goes under. It's DeWitt, blocked the shot out of the air. Over to Harmon. Harmon to the front court for the Tigers. Drives to the right corner. Goes underneath with it to Miller. Miller tips it up, and he is fouled from behind by Leffridge. As they had a pretty play in the works there, and it just didn't work.
Sure did. Bill did a good job getting that ball over to Jimmy. Jimmy timed it perfect. It could have been a real nice alley-oop play, but Jimmy was fouled on the play.
James DeWitt did a beautiful job on that block shot down the other end of the
He
floor.
sure did.
That was, James has blocked several shots this year. He may even lead the Princeton team in block shots.
I would say he's leading in rebounds of the team tonight.
I would say so.
We'll have Miller on the line to shoot a 1-on-1 for the Tigers. I would have called that a 2-shot foul anyway. But Miller fires, it's good. Now, he went under him from behind. How come it wasn't a 2-shot foul, then?
It should have been a 2-shot foul, even the fact that that was a controlled tip, and that should have been a shooting foul.
Well, Miller made the first one anyway, so now it's academic, so he can make the second one. It doesn't make any difference. 38-21, Tigers up with 3:29 left to play in the first half, as they're going to mop up a wet spot on the floor. Tigers right now with Harmon, DeWitt, Eads, Miller, and St. Clair. And Walter Nixon showing his abilities as a mopping the floor dry. Walter Nixon, the official here tonight, along with George Simon. A couple of very competent, very capable, personable individuals. Miller fires. It's good. And Humphreys gets the foul in the backcourt out of Harmon as he dribbled over in front of him, just leaned into him. That's number 2 on Bill. And that'll put T.J. Humphreys on the line for the Bobcats with 3:26 left to play in the first half. Tigers 39, Hinton 21.
Number 33, the time for Bill Harmon. His second.
And we'll have T.J. Humphreys to fire the free throw. Check it. That is Wayne Ryan to shoot. As Ryan will fire a 1-on-1. He puts the first one up. It's no good off the flange. And Miller rebounds. He is fouled by Leffridge. And Leffridge can't believe it. That's number 3 on Leffridge. And really, even though that wasn't in our favor, that may have been a little bit of a nitpicking type foul, Bob.
Well, it may have been. There have been an awful lot of fouls called early in this ball game. Hinton shows 1 field goal for the second quarter and a whole, I guess, 2, 4, 6, 8 foul shots attempted.
Maybe the officials trying to keep it from getting too rough out there. Miller on the line to shoot a 1-on-1 now for the Tigers. He'll fire with the right hand. He's got the first one on the way. It's off the iron, no good. Rebound comes back outside to Miller. We got a whistle and a foul underneath on Eads, I believe. It is on Mike Eads, and now we've got it's number 3 on Mike, and we've got a free throw shooting parade going as they walk from one end of the floor, and then they walk back to the other end of the floor. And I guess if we could sell lap time for a dime, we could make some money on the marathon here of walking. 3:24 left to play in the first half. 39-21 Tigers up. Dick Leffridge. That's not Dick Leffridge. That's Rich Leffridge on the free throw line for the Bobcats. He fires. It is off the flange. No good. Rebound to James DeWitt of the Tigers. Puts it on the floor, brings it to the front court, gets it out to Harmon. Harmon drives into the front court, puts it on the glass, no good. Rebound picked up by DeWitt in the lane, hooks it up. Miller tips, got it. Now Miller was on the floor, got up, went up and over the rim and tipped it right back and in. And the up-court pass taken away by the Tigers. They're out to St. Clair. He's running, goes down, lays it up, no good. Rebound pulled down by the Bobcats. As David Mann brings it to the front court now. Behind the back dribble taken away by St. Clair. He is roll blocked. We got bodies on the floor and DeWitt controls for the Tigers. Gets it to Miller in the front court. He goes under. We got a whistle and a foul, maybe on David Mann. 41-21, and that foul will be on David Mann. And on David, that'll be foul number 2. And that put Miller on the free throw line. Now, he was fouled on the drive, so it'll be a 1-and-1.
Do you think Jimmy had an intention of dunking that when he originally got the ball?
Oh, from the word go. I think DeWitt had the intention of dunking it when he threw the pass way back up floor. As Miller on the line now. And, if David Mann had gotten hold of that ball, Jimmy could have dunked him through that ball to that net, wouldn't he? Jimmy fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. Then we'd had a long time out while they got David out of the net, I guess.
Number 41, John Cale.
Cales checks back in leftward. Yeah, we say that jokingly. David Mann's a real hard-nosed competitor. He's just not nearly as big as Jimmy Miller.
Jimmy shows 17 points in the first half, and at Hinton he only had 15 points for the whole ball game. So Jimmy's playing an excellent ball game tonight.
So Miller ready to fire again. He's on the way with it off the flange. No good. Rebound pulled down by the Bobcats as Humphreys controls. He gets it over to Jeff Williams, and Williams moves it to the front court. Still on the dribble with it. Tigers in the man-to-man defense. As Williams out front on the dribble. St. Clair plays defense. Williams moves it to the top of the key, moves it back outside now to Herbie Smith. And Smith is called for traveling as he was on a casual type dribble and evidently picked up the foot. It'll be out to the Tigers on the far side as Hansberger inbounds it to St. Clair. St. Clair gives it back to Hansberger with 2:30 left to play in the first half. Hansberger fires. Good. Hansberger hits it from about 16 feet. As the Tigers go out 44-21 now. As Jeff Williams with the ball, they double team him in the backcourt. Hansberger and St. Clair take the ball away, but Hansberger called for the foul. Check it. He called on number 11. Now number 11's got to be on Williams. It is on Williams. That's number 2 on Williams.
Which you describe as an unusual call.
I'd describe it as an unusual call.
I thought it was going to be on Hansberger also.
Well, I thought he pointed at Hansberger, and Hansberger slapped his hand against the floor like he had been caught doing something, but evidently not. So we'll have Hansberger on the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1. Hansberger's got 2 fingers taped together on the left hand. The last 2 fingers he must have injured. Free throw's no good. Off the side of the rim, just tipped out of bounds. Off of the Tigers, it'll be out to the Bobcats. As Neal gets it into Williams, he gives it back to Neal, and Neal backs it into the front court. And gives it to Smith, firing from way outside, no good. Rebound to Miller of the Tigers, out to St. Clair. St. Clair into the front court, has it knocked loose by Herbie Smith, and he is called for the foul. That's number 2 on Smith, and that'll put Jeff St. Clair on the free throw line for the Tigers.
33 for the Bobcats, Herbie Smith, his second.
St. Clair to fire the 1-and-1. Puts it up. It's good. He'll have a second attempt.
On the line for the Tigers, Jeff St. Clair.
St. Clair's ready once again. He's squared away at the line. Both feet on the line. Fires with the right hand. It's good. Got it. 46-21 now. Tigers moving out to a pretty nice lead as Williams brings it to the front court for the Bobcats now. Top of the key, still dribbling. St. Clair goes after the ball. Williams picks it up, gives it to Cale. Drives the lane. Harmon blocks the shot. Foul on Harmon. Harmon got him with the body. That's number 3 on Bill, and that forward slot over now. Murray's got 3, Harmon's got 3.
And James DeWitt also has 2.
And DeWitt has 2. 46-21. Tigers up by 25 big with 1:56 to play in the first half. And John Cales will be on the free throw line for the Bobcats. He fires. It is off the flange. No good. He'll have a second attempt. Cales fires. Off the flange again. Rebound to DeWitt. As he's in traffic, moves it out on the dribble. Moves it to the front court. James DeWitt goes to the top of the key. Dishes it off to the left of Miller. Goes into the lane. Fires. Got it. As Miller, using the glass, skipped it into the net. 48-21. Tigers out. as Williams into the front court has a knock loose. Pass out from Onsberger to St. Clair. Goes down, fakes. Now he fires. No good. And Gales rebounds fired for St. Clair, and St. Clair can't believe he missed it. He stopped, let traffic clear by. He waited for the first one to go by, looked, waited for another one to go by, then put the shot up too hard. That's number 2 on St. Clair.
Foul call against the Tigers, number 2.
He almost got that 3-second call on him also.
I don't believe it's been called. Usually they'll give them 5 seconds when they're getting ready to shoot, and they got to warm up.
They will.
So we'll have John Gales on the free throw line for the Bobcats now, shooting a 1-on-1. He puts it up, it's good. He just missed 2 a minute ago, comes back and makes this one. He'll have a second attempt now. 48-22. Minute 33 to play in the first half. As Gales fires, it's off the iron, no good, into Witt. Flips it to Miller. Miller out to Onsberger. To St. Clair. St. Clair takes it down to the lane. Leaves it to Harmon. Harmon firing the baseline, pulls it short. Rebound pulled down by the Bobcats. Williams holds it in the back court now. Looks for help. Gets it from Kales. Into the front court with it to Ryan. Ryan goes to the baseline. Fires no good. Ryan follows his shot. Puts it up no good. He is fouled by Harmon, I believe. And that's 4 on Bill. As Bill walking around very disgusted with himself.
Bill Harmon, his 4th personal.
So far in this second quarter, Hinton is 6 of 14 from the foul line.
That's
Just in
not
the
very
second,
good, is
just
it?
in the second quarter.
Well, they've had a bunch of them. As we'll have Wayne Ryan on the free throw line for the Bobcats now, shooting 2 shots. Ryan fires. It is good. He'll have a second attempt.
On the line for the Bobcats, Wayne Ryan. Back into the game for the Tigers, Stephon Murray.
As Murray checks back into the ball game, he's got 3 fouls. Harmon checks out with 4. As Wayne Ryan on the free throw line yet for the Tigers. He fires. It's good. 48-24. Tigers up as St. Clair brings it to the front court for Princeton. To Miller on the left side. Fires over Kales. Off the iron, no good. Rebound. Pulled down by the Bobcats. Out to Herbie Smith. Running into the front court. Goes down. Fires, no good. Rebounded to Witt of the Tigers. As they come out again to St. Clair. St. Clair drives on Kales. Leaves it for Miller. Slam dunk. Jimmy got his second one tonight. 50-24 now with 52 seconds to play. As the Bobcats, Wayne Ryan brings it up, gives it to Jeff Williams. Williams has a knock loose by St. Clair. St. Clair roll block, picks the ball up, trying to get it over to Witt. Has a knock loose by the Bobcats as Ryan brings it to the front court. Miller hits him off. He'll fire. Good. Wayne Ryan pulls it up and hits it. 50-26 now. St. Clair behind the back pass to Hansberger. Hansberger to Miller in the lane, firing. Good. As Jimmy puts it in again. 52-26 now. Tigers out. We got 23 seconds to play in the first half. As the up-court pass knocked out of bounds by the Tigers. As Miller going for it, knocked it out of bounds right into the Hinton cheerleaders. And it'll be Bobcat ball as Jeff Williams will inbound it for the Bobcats. Holds it high overhead. Trying to get it across court. DeWitt intercepts for the Tigers. Holds it, gives it to Hansberger. John to St. Clair. St. Clair moves it to the front court, back to Hansberger. Fakes the shot, goes to the lane. Now he lays it up. Good. And the Tigers out to 54 points in the first half. It's Smith with the ball for the Bobcats. Moves it to the front court for Hinton now. He'll fire from way outside at the buzzer. As the buzzer goes off, we got the first half score. The Princeton Tigers 54. The Hinton Bobcats 26. As in that second quarter, the Bobcats could only get 11 points, while the Tigers went out and got 30 big ones. So at halftime, we've got the Tigers 54, the Bobcats 26, 54-26. Ball game being brought to you tonight on Big WAEY Radio on the AM band by the Mercer County Bank, Service Cleaners, and Bondurant Oldsmobile. On the FM band by the Pepsi-Cola Company, Bluestone Paving, Town and Country Restaurant. We'll be back right after this. The Tigers starting slowly and then getting it rolling and keeping it rolling as everybody into the act for the Tigers finally. Of course, the Tigers may be in foul trouble here at halftime as they lead the Hinton Bobcats 54-26. And we've got all the kinds of halftime stats. And while we're getting them ready, let's pause 30 seconds for this message. The Tigers will be in action next this Friday night when we go to Pineville to take on the Pineville Minutemen. Tip-off time is 8 o'clock. We'd like to see you put your face in the place. But if you can't make it, we'd like to have you join Ann Metter, Bob Graham, and myself here at Big WAEY Radio. We'll keep you posted of what's going on and tell you all about it and give you our opinions. I know sometimes you may not want to hear that latter part, but you know how it is. Three of us rednecks up here talking, we have to give a few opinions every now and then. as we're waiting on Bob to come up with some individual stats. And Bob, you tell me when you're ready. As he makes the last minute of addition.
For the Hinton Bobcats, first half I showed them with 9 field goals. If you remember, in the first quarter they had 7 field goals. Jeff Williams had 1 field goal. He was 3 of 4 at the foul line for 5 points. T.J. Humphreys had 1 field goal, 0 for 1 at the foul line, and 2 points. Ryan had 3 field goals, 1 of 3 at the foul line for 7 points. Herb Smith had 2 field goals, 1 of 3 at the foul line for 5 points. John Kales had 2 field goals and 2 of 7 at the foul line for 6 points. For Princeton, the big player tonight for Princeton has to be Jimmy Miller. He shows 10 field goals in the first half, 3 of 5 at the foul line for 23 points. Mike Eads has 3 field goals. He's 4 of 4 at the foul line for 10 points. Jeff St. Clair is 2 of 2 at the foul line for 2 points. Stephon Murray came in and did not score. Bill Harmon is 1 of 2 at the foul line for 1 point. James DeWitt, the sophomore for the Princeton team, has 5 field goals for 10 points. Hansberger, who came in relief of St. Clair early in the first quarter, has 4 field goals and 0 for 1 at the foul line for a total of 9 points.
0 for 1? 8 points is right. The question I got to ask you now, you got Jimmy Miller with 23 points. Now, did you give him anything extra for those 2 slam dunks?
No, I didn't give him anything extra.
Okay. And you got anything on team stats for us?
Sure do, Glenn. As of right now, Princeton put up 39 shots, made 22 of them for just about a 55% tally. Hinton put up 24 shots, made 9 of them, that's 37%. Teams are about even on rebounding, both having 18 rebounds this half. Most of Princeton's rebounds came at the defensive end, most of Hinton's rebounds coming at the offensive end. Princeton turned the ball over 5 times as compared to 16 turnovers by Hinton. And I would say, other than the shot percentage, that 16 turnovers has really been a big difference and made the big difference in this game.
I think that's right. The thing that has impressed me is that in the second quarter, the Tigers, when they did start rebounding, they started rebounding with authority, didn't they?
Oh, they sure did. Those rebounds that Princeton has been pulling down, many of them they've pulled down and have turned into immediate 2 points. They pulled them down, cleared those boards out, fired the ball down the court, and somebody has been open and either laid it up or had a nice open set shot right off of the rebound.
As a coach, and slam dunks, it's got to get adrenaline pumping. Everybody got to get juiced up just a little more, don't they?
Right. You say as a coach, I can honestly say that I have never had a player that even came close to dunking the ball.
Yeah,
but any big play like that, sure, I'd love to have one like that. Any big play, a big steal, in girls basketball, a wide open layup, or a big 3-point play, and then naturally with the men, anytime you've got somebody with a dunk, everybody in Princeton knows just how important the dunk is, remembering Alan Williams' famous behind-the-back dunk at the Brush Fork Army last year that many people say actually sent Princeton to the state championship. Because that game could have gone either way. That slam dunk put Princeton ahead, and they never looked back.
Okay, and Bob, I've got a special guest sitting over here next to me. Now, this fellow, I guess the only way we can describe him is calling a little bit of the midnight cowboy for being able to drive vans without lights. Now, I've got Teddy Spadaro sitting alongside. Teddy, that's really not that funny of a joke, is it?
Not when you've seen the Midnight Cowboy on the screen, no.
But Ted Spadaro, and Ted is the head baseball coach here at Princeton, and of course he puts in about 75 hours a week with football. And I don't think you're really an assistant basketball coach, but you put in about 60 hours a week with it, don't you?
Well, I do the taping for the team, and we drive vans to our away games, and I keep a scorebook for Coach Ball and do some scouting.
The reason why I was talking about this driving van without lights, on the way back from Huntington, as you come down the scenic and beautiful West Virginia Turnpike, as you cleared through the tunnel, all of a sudden you thought you'd gone blind, didn't you?
Well, that's true. Our lights went out on us, and lo and behold, I'm just happy that they went out in the tunnel so that I can get to the other end and pull off. It was a tiring night. We got home, I think it was right around 3 o'clock in the morning, had to get up and go to school the next morning there at 8 o'clock, and there was Mr. George Keatley standing at the door with all smiles and congratulating us for coming to school.
Well, you were very cheerful that morning also, weren't you?
Not really. I was half asleep.
Teddy, you've been watching the Tigers now for a couple of years and so forth, and I know that you've been intimately involved with them. And the Tigers really are just one of those small, infinitesimal things away from being a good ball club, aren't they?
That's true. The big factor there, of course, is lack of experience out there. Jimmy Miller is the only returning first-teamer that we have, and when you're playing with 4 other inexperienced ball players, the main important thing is to get your 10 or 12 games under your belt going into the latter part of the season, and that's all the Tigers need right now is just more experience.
Well, when you look at some of the competition that we're playing, the Tigers, this is only their 6th ball game of the season. I noticed that Mountain View's already played 9, and Beavers played something like 8 or something like that.
Well, that's true. We had a game 2 weeks ago snowed out with Mountain View, which would have made us extra ball game in there. But Coach Ball is bringing his boys along slowly, and I think you'll see the difference in the second part of the season for these kids.
Teddy, when you talk about taping, I guess that's one of the very important things in a ball club. Not only does taping help to keep an injury from happening, but it also, after an injury has occurred, it strengthens it and keeps it from deteriorating.
Well, that's true. You take Alan Williams last year. Alan turned his ankle in the ball game against Woodrow Wilson, and as a result of putting ice packs and doing our treatment here in the Whirlpool, Alan had been able to play in the other ball games. You get an injury like that, you got to keep it taped, just like Jimmy Miller this year. He has a bad right ankle, but I taped the left one also, just in case of a sprain, that it won't be as bad. You got to maintain that injured area.
Teddy, we're happy to have you as a part of the Tigers, and we enjoy working with you in football and basketball and watching you in baseball. And on the trip to Parkersburg now on February the 12th, you may want to put a blanket and a pillow in that van.
Well, I just might take a big bus up there instead of that van.
Okay, Teddy, thanks for coming up to visit with us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Teddy Spadaro. We'll be back right after this. Kid, she never could discipline her kids like anybody else. She'd always crack you on top of the head with a thimble and grab you by the ear and lead you around.
As my brother used to drag me around by my ears.
We're talking about the way headphones bother your ears, and Ann's complaining. I told her if she wore them another little while, she'd have cauliflower ears, and people think she's a lady wrestler. Hey, Bob, the Tigers got 54 points here at halftime. Up at Hinton, they just had 52 at halftime.
That's right, and it's very, and Hinton had 24 at Hinton, and they've got 26 here tonight.
Hey, how about that? I noticed that.
Princeton just kind of spread their scoring out amongst 2 quarters instead of just in the second
now,
quarter.
if you add 2 more to the totals at the end of the game, the Tigers come up with 100, and Hinton, well, you had 4.
101.
Because they scored 2 more in the second half, so they come 102 against 53. All right, we're ready for basketball. The Tigers are out there right now. We got Jimmy Miller, James DeWitt, Stephon Murray, Mike Eads, and Tom St. Clair. Jeff St. Clair is a tip controlled by the Tigers, and it's lost out of bounds on the far side, and they give it to the Tigers. As I had Tom St. Clair in the ballgame again. Did you know that? Inbounds pass to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff moves it to the top of the key, to the right side, to James DeWitt. He'll fire from the corner. Got it. James DeWitt from 20 feet hits it. 56-26 now, as Williams brings it to the front court for Hinton. To Humphreys, drives the baseline, puts it up, no good. Rebound underneath by Neal, puts it up. He is fouled by somebody. That's Wayne Ryan putting it up, and he is fouled by Jeff St. Clair, and that's number 3 on Jeff. As now the Tigers in foul trouble in the guard position. Team foul number 1 on the Tigers.
St. Clair, his 3rd personal.
As we'll have Wayne Ryan on the free throw line for the Bobcats. He'll shoot 2. 56-26, Tigers up. Ryan fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. There's Ryan ready for the second one. He fires. Got it. 56-28. Now the Bobcats will press. As the inbound pass goes to St. Clair. Gets it to DeWitt. James on the move to the front court to Murray, and Murray loses the handle on it as the Tigers had to break set up. Couldn't control the ball. It'll be out to the Bobcats in the backcourt. As Williams will inbound it. Tigers are not pressing. They've fallen back. 56-28. 7:35 left to play in the third quarter. As Herbie Smith brings it to the front court for the Bobcats. On the far side. There goes the high post to John Kales. To Ryan looks at the bucket, doesn't shoot, gives it to Humphreys underneath, gives it back to Ryan, drives for the lane now. He'll fire from 17 feet. It's off the planes, no good. Rebound to Murray and Kales and a wrestling match, and they'll jump it. And it'll be John Kales to jump against Stephon Murray. Murray is in, Kales is in. We're waiting on the Bobcats to get lined up. Now they're ready. As the official puts the ball in the air, and the tip control by the Tigers as Miller comes up with it. Out to St. Clair's. Jeff moves it to the front court for the Tigers. To DeWitt, goes under, lays it up, rolled it too far over as it slipped out of his hand. Pulled down by the Bobcats. As into the front court with it is Ryan. Ryan trying to go in the weeks with it to Humphreys. Humphreys puts it up and in. P.J. Humphreys hits it for the Bobcats. As Eads with the ball for the Tigers, they double team him in the backcourt. We got a traveling call. 56-30 now as the Bobcats have cut into the Tiger lead a little bit. And it'll be out to the Bobcats on the far side as Herbie Smith inbounds it to Jeff Williams. Williams puts it on the floor, moves it to the near side. Tigers playing a man-to-man defense. As Williams goes to Cale on the high post, gives it to Williams on the give and go. He can't get the shot off, gives it to Humphreys. Humphreys puts it up and in off the baseline. T.J. Humphreys working the baseline now for 2 in a row. As the Tigers come back to Miller. Miller goes to the front court, drives, lays it up and in. He is fouled by Williams. What in the world is Williams doing, trying to go up to block Miller on the layup? That's number 3 on Williams. Williams is about 5'7". Miller 6'7", and yet Williams jumping back there to try to block the shot.
Jimmy looked like a guard on that move, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Maybe that's why Williams was after him. As we'll have Jimmy on the free throw line for the Tigers now. He'll shoot one. He fires. He's got it. 59-32. As the Bobcats come to the offense, Smith with the ball. As moves it to Humphreys. Humphreys has it going to the front court. Knocked loose by DeWitt. Picked up by Humphreys. Gets it to Ryan. Fires out of the corner. No good. Rebound pulled down by Eads of the Tigers. Behind the back dribble. Now he puts it on the move toward the front court. Moves around Williams. Holds it up. Looks for somebody to move inside. Gives it to St. Clair, and they'll start the offense. To DeWitt on the right side. DeWitt will fire out of the corner. Good. 20 feet, and the net ripples softly. 61-32 now. As the Tigers, in a man-to-man press, in the front court with it is Herbie Smith for the Bobcats. Firing on the run, no good. Rebound, pulled down by Eads. To the front court, to DeWitt. Goes under, lays it up. Good. And James DeWitt hitting 3 buckets here early in the third quarter. Tigers out, 63-32 now. As Herbie Smith with the ball for the Bobcats. To the front court to Williams. Williams to Humphreys. Drives the baseline to Kales. He'll lay it up. No good. Rebound to Stephon Murray in heavy traffic as Murray clears it out. Flips it in the front court to DeWitt to Eads. Goes down, drives, fires, got it. Mike Eads, 65-32 as the Tigers really blowing loose right now. As Kales in the up-court pass to Humphreys. Humphreys into the corner with it. Goes to the baseline. Gives it back outside to Williams. Fakes the shot. Tries to get it back to Humphreys. It's knocked loose. We got a foul on Humphreys as he reached all the way around James DeWitt. And on Humphreys, that'll be foul number 1. It'll be Tiger ball out of bounds. It's team foul number 2 on the Bobcats. As the official cleans something off the floor on the far side. As DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. And Jeff dribbles it twice and throws it in the front court to Mike Eads. Eads fakes the shot, gives it back to St. Clair. They go in the lane with it to DeWitt. He fired, got it. James DeWitt again. That's 4 buckets here in the third quarter for James. And we got a foul in the backcourt on the Tigers as they were pressing. And let's see who it's on. It is on Stephon Murray, and that's number 4 on Stephon. And team foul number 2 on the Tigers in the third quarter. 67-32. As Williams will bring it to the front court for the Bobcats. Gives it to Smith. Smith drops it down low to Kales. Kales on the baseline. Can't get it open. Gives it back outside to Ryan. Fires off the iron. No good. Rebound. Kicked outside. St. Clair loses it. Picked up by Williams. Back to Kales. Goes under. Puts it up and in. John Kales hits it for the Bobcats. As Eads inbounds it. And Stephon gives it right back to Eads. As they go in the front court, we got a whistle on a foul as Miller setting up a pick. I think he's run into by Herbie Smith. It was Herbie Smith as Miller had set a rub-off pick. And it's number 3 on Smith. And team foul number 3 on the Bobcats. As we get Bill Harmon into the ball game for the Tigers, and Stephon will get a chance to catch his breath. As St. Clair now moves it to the front court for the Tigers. To the right side of DeWitt. Goes to the baseline. He'll fire. Off the iron, no good. Rebound comes to the floor. Picked up outside by Williams of the Bobcats. Takes it to the front court. DeWitt heads him off. Gives it outside to Humphreys. As Humphreys to Ryan. Ryan to Smith on the far side. Herbie goes into the corner to the baseline. A double team him. He gets it back outside, knocked loose. Picked up finally by Smith, and he gets it over to Ryan. Now to Humphreys. Firing from the free throw line. Off the iron, no good. Rebound to Eads. And Williams all over him. And on Williams, that'll be foul number 4. And team foul number 4 on the Bobcats.
Number 11 of the Bobcats.
And it'll be out of bounds to the Tigers on the far side back court. 4:06 to play in the third quarter. Getting off the bench for the Bobcats is Tim Gwynn.
Into the game now for the Bobcats, number 20.
As Gwynn checks in. And Williams will get a chance to catch his breath. So the Tigers to the front. Bring it to the offense now as St. Clair dribbling right across the center circle to the front court. To the right side to DeWitt. To Eads in the lane. Puts the shot up partially blocked. And we got a whistle and a foul. Humphreys had a piece of the ball. And they called the foul on Humphreys. That's number 2 on Humphreys. And Ryan held up his hand to take that foul. You see it?
The foul called on number 21 of the Bobcats.
Well, 21-30. That's team foul number 5 on the Bobcats. But it's a shooting foul. It'll be a 2-shot foul. As Eads ready to fire. He puts it up on the front iron, no good. He'll have a second attempt. 67-34 now. Tigers up with 3:56 to play in the third quarter. Tigers blowing it loose. As Eads fires, good. 68-34. 34-point lead for the Tigers here in the third quarter. As Kales inbounds it to Gwynn. Gwynn gives it back to Kales. Up court with it, into the front court to Ryan. Over to Gwynn. To Smith. Fires from the free throw line. Miller got a piece of it on the block. Miller comes out of the pile with the ball. Into the front court with it to St. Clair. Throws it right on by him out of bounds. As Miller trying a fancy pass. He didn't catch the ball. He just flipped it with the right hand and flipped it right on. St. Clair should have been running faster, I guess. 68-34 now. As the Bobcats come back with it. Ryan into the front court. To Humphreys on the low post. DeWitt blocks the shot. And St. Clair comes up with it, tied up. And we got a foul call on T.J. Humphreys.
T.J. Humphreys in the first half didn't have any fouls, and this is his third foul in this half.
And that'll put St. Clair on the free throw line for the Tigers.
T.J. Humphreys, his third.
Tigers getting a little loose out there, though, aren't they?
Yes, they're right on schedule for that century mark here before the end of this ball game. Let's say.
St. Clair fires the free throw. It's good. 69-34 now. Tigers up. And St. Clair ready to fire again. He puts it up. Got it. 70-34. 3.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. As DeWitt intercepts the pass but goes out of bounds, but he couldn't get the brakes on. It'll be Bobcat ball on the far side as Hinton will have it. Into inbound it will be Wayne Ryan. He gets it into Herbie Smith. And Smith dribbles to the front court, gives it back to Ryan. Ryan comes to the top of the key. Drops it low to Gwynn. Gwynn backs his way in. Now he fires off the iron. No good. James DeWitt high in the air to pull that rebound down. Flips it to St. Clair. To Harmon into the front court. Bill drives. Puts it up. Got it. Bill Harmon on a pretty shot. 72-34 now as the Tigers in the press. As Ryan comes in the front court, gives it to Humphreys. Goes under. Fires off the iron. No good. DeWitt comes out with it. On the break. The Tigers got a 3-on-1 as DeWitt shoves it off to St. Clair. St. Clair back to DeWitt and St. Clair called for the charge. And there was nothing else they could do, really. Couldn't stay away from it. That's number 4 on Jeff. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers. And the bucket no good, of course, and it'll be out to the Bobcats. 2:54 to play in the ball game. Tigers up 72-34. As Wayne Ryan moves it to the front court for the Bobcats. Across the top of the key with it. Still on the dribble out front. Now gets it to Herbie Smith. As Smith, way out at the quarter court, looks underneath. Tigers in a man-to-man defense as they moved everybody to the right side, trying to open up a one-on-one on the left side. Now they move it back top of the key. Ryan with the ball. Backs his way in. Now they come to Humphreys. Works on DeWitt. DeWitt slaps the ball away, but DeWitt got a piece of Humphreys. On James DeWitt, that's foul number 3. Team foul number 4 on the Tigers. And we get John Hansberger off the bench for the Tigers coming into the ball game for St. Clair.
Number 32.
And it'll be out to the Bobcats on the baseline. That's only the 4th team foul, not a shooting foul yet.
The foul on James DeWitt.
Wayne Ryan to inbound it for the Bobcats. Brings it way outside to Gwynn. As Tim gives it to Herbie Smith. And they go back to Kales and now to Gwynn, firing from outside. Back to Kales, picks it out of the air and puts the shot up, no good. Rebound fought for, brought out underneath by Bill Harmon. As Harmon up court with it to DeWitt. goes down, fires. He is fouled by Gwynn. As James DeWitt, driving for the layup, was fouled by Tim Gwynn, and on Gwynn, that'll be foul number 1, I guess. He just checked into the ball game. Team foul number 6 or 7 on the Bobcats, but DeWitt will be shooting. That'll be a 2-shot foul. 72-34. Tigers enjoying a big advantage over the Bobcats. DeWitt fires the first free throw. It's good. 73-34 now. With 2:18 to play in the third quarter, DeWitt fires again. 74-34. As Gwynn brings the ball in, and he has traveled. The traveling call is Mike Eads set up right behind him. When Gwynn turned around and saw Eads, he couldn't put the dribble on the floor, so the travel was called. As DeWitt will inbound it to Eads. Eads goes toward the lane, puts a shot on the glass, no good. Rebound, kicked around, picked out by Kales of the Bobcats. Out to Smith. Herbie into the front court with it on the run. Down the right side, holds it up, gives it back outside to Ryan. Ryan will fire from 20 feet. Good. Wayne Ryan, 20 feet away, hits it for the Bobcats. As the Tigers come back, as Eads into the front court with it for the Tigers. Dribbling. Gives it to Onsberger. Onsberger at the point guard position. He directs some traffic as the Bobcats into a 2-1-2 zone, almost a 2-3 really. And they go to DeWitt. DeWitt on the far side with it for the Tigers. Gives it back outside to Onsberger. Now to Harmon on the near side. They go to Miller on the low post. Spins, fires off the iron, no good. Tipped once. Miller puts it back up again. He's got it. Jimmy gets the Tigers to 76 points. 76-36 now. As the Bobcats come back to the front court, as Ryan brings it down, gives it to Humphreys, goes under, and he is fired by Miller. As Miller was hanging way in the air over him, and there was nothing. Just a matter of how long he's going to hang until he comes down on him, wasn't it? That's number 2 on Jimmy. Team foul number 5 on the Tigers. 76-36. Tigers out by 40 big ones.
You know, just to mention some of the scoring, Jimmy Miller has 28 points in the ball game, and James DeWitt has 20 points for Princeton in this ball game so far. So that's 48 points of the 76 on the board.
Ain't bad. T.J. Humphreys on the line to shoot a 1-on-1. We got a minute 25 left to play in the third quarter. As Humphreys fires, it's good.
On the line for the Bobcats.
And what do you do about injuries? You know, in a game like this, sometimes when you get some pretty bad injuries.
Yeah, you sure do. You know, you look up at the scoreboard and you see that 100 mark inside. All the kids want it, but then you have to question whether maybe losing a player for the rest of the season. Because, you know, these hitting guys have to be getting a little frustrated.
That's right. And everybody's playing a little loose. And when you play a little loose, you're not in much control.
Sure they are.
All right, Humphreys hits the second free throw. 76-38 now. Tigers out. As St. Clair to the front court with it to DeWitt. Drops it to Miller. Works the baseline. Goes under, puts it up and in. And they got an offensive foul called on Miller. But boy, it was a slow whistle.
Yes, it was.
It was an offensive foul, no doubt about it, though.
I think the fans, as much as anything else, called that because Walter Nixon was looking right straight at the Hinton fans.
Okay. 76-38, and the Bobcats come to the offense as Wayne Ryan brings it to the front court for Hinton. Leaves it to Herbie Smith at the quarter to T.J. Firing from the line, no good. We got a whistle and a foul on Miller, and it'll be 4 on Jim now. 3? Okay.
The foul called on Tigers number 40, Jimmy Miller.
That's number 4 on Jim. That's what I thought, because he had 1 down here, 1 there, and that's 3 right now in the last minute. As Jimmy picks up his 4th foul, 76-38. Tigers on top with a minute 5 to play in the third quarter. And we'll have T.J. Humphreys on the free throw line. As Humphreys fires, it's off the iron, no good. He'll get a second attempt. You remember Miller got that garbage foul out front here in the first half. And then he jumped over the ball down here for the second one. Offensive foul. And then that one. That's right. Humphreys fires again. It's off the iron, no good. Rebound to Eads of the Tigers. Tigers puts it on the floor as Eads comes to the front court with a left-hand dribble. Still on the dribble. Lets Smith go by, holds it overhead, gives it outside to St. Clair to DeWitt on the right side. Takes 1 dribble and fires. Pulls it short. Miller has it on the baseline. Works his way under, puts it up and in. Jimmy Miller for the Tigers. 78-38 now. As Gwynn with the ball for the Bobcats. Gets it to Ryan. Trying to get it up to Gwynn. Has it knocked loose. Picked up by Gwynn finally. As Gwynn gives it back to Ryan. Top of the key with it. Fires underneath. And Gwynn's got it on the baseline somewhere or other. Puts the ball all the way across the rim. Pulled down by DeWitt. As he goes out to Eads. Eads goes down. Fires. No good. Rebound. Pulled down by Eads. Puts it up again. Got it. Mike Eads gets the Tigers out to 80-38 with 17 seconds to play in the third quarter. Herbie Smith with the ball for Hinton. Dribbling in the backcourt. As they head him off, he gets in the front court to Gwynn. Ball knocked loose, picked up by Eads. He's moved to the front court to DeWitt. Works. And puts it up and in as he went over top of Wayne Ryan. At the buzzer, the Princeton Tigers at the end of the third quarter. The Princeton Tigers 82. The Hinton Bobcats 38. And we'll be back right after this. The one is no good. Rebound pulled down by Hansberger of the Tigers. As he dribbles to the front court with it. Turns it to the left side to Jenkins. Jenkins will fire from 18 feet, no good. Rebound pulled down by Leffridge, fall from behind by Schrader. That's number 1 on Russell. And that'll put Leffridge on the free throw line for the Bobcats. 2 minutes, 38 seconds to play in the ball game. And 94-45, Tigers up. And if the crowd's singing around and says the Tigers are going to get 100.
That's why I'm saying.
Okay. As Leffridge fires, no good. Rebound pulled off by Jeff Adams of the Tigers. As he gets it over to Hansberger. John into the front court with it. To Jenkins at the wing position left side. Back to Hansberger. Brings it to Schrader on the near side. To Jenkins on the high post. Back to Schrader. Goes to the baseline. Fires. Good. Russell Schrader. 96-45 now. With 2:17 to play as O'Neal comes to the front court with it for Hinton. To the left side. To Ryan. Back to O'Neal. As they go to Cobb on the wing right side, he goes to the baseline. He'll fire. Off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled out by the Tigers as Adams comes out with it. To Hansberger. Tigers got a 3-on-2 as Hansberger drops it to Jenkins, and Jenkins puts it up and in. 98-45. With 1:53 to play. Tigers reaching for that century mark as O'Neal brings it to the front court for the Bobcats. Goes down to the baseline. Brings it back outside to Ryan. Spinning. Firing out of the top of the key. Good. Wayne Ryan hits it for the Bobcats as they'll press. As Hansberger with the ball in the backcourt for the Tigers. A cross-court pass to Schrader. Schrader into the front court with it. Gives it to Hansberger. John comes to the top of the key. To the right side to Posey. Firing. No good. We got a whistle on a foul underneath. And that foul will be on Frank Jenkins as he fouled at number 1 on Frank. As he fouled John Cales of the Bobcats. And coming into the ball game for the Bobcats will be David Mann. A minute 24 left to play in the ball game. 98-47. Tigers on top. John Cales on the free throw line. He'll shoot a 1-on-1. He fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. 98-48 now. As Cales will have a second attempt. Hey, Cales been to the free throw line an awful lot tonight, isn't he?
He was 2 of 7 in the first half. He's now 3 of 10.
Okay, as Cales missed the second one. Rebound comes down to Schrader, and we got a traveling call. O'Neal will inbound it for the Bobcats. He inbounds it to Cales on the baseline. Moves it over to Mann. Drives outside. Top of the key. He'll fire from 17 feet. It's good. As the Bobcats pressing. Hansberger with the ball for the Tigers now. Moves it toward the front court. Toward the top of the key. Into the lane. He'll fire from 17 feet. Good. And there's a foul underneath as the Tigers got 100. 100-50 right now with a minute and 3 seconds to play. As Hansberger fielded from 17 feet with 1:03 left in the ball game to give him the century mark. And we'll have Hansberger on the free throw line to shoot 1. Or is it a 1-and-1?
This should be an interesting. After he explained it before the game, this should be interesting. He's saying 1 shot.
All right, 1 shot. Is Hansberger on the line now? 100-50. Tigers up. Hansberger fires. Good. 101-50 now. 1:03 to play in the ball game. As Mann brings it to the front court, and he is fouled out front by Frank Jenkins. And on Frank, that is foul number 2.
Well, there might have been a few people waiting to see if Princeton got 100 because there's a lot of people standing up that look like they're putting their coats on with with 58 seconds. So we're right down to it.
Make sure Ann stays where we need her stats. As Mann fires the free throw, it's good. He'll have another one. 101-51. And you know, a couple of lights just went out on the scoreboard. Mann fires again, it's good. 101-52 now as Onsberger up court pass with it to Jenkins. Jenkins goes toward the baseline. He'll fire from 14 feet. Good. 103-52. As Mann brings it back to the front court for the Bobcats. On the dribble, taken away, tied up over by Posey, and they'll jump it. Jim Posey tying up David Mann, and they'll jump it. They're about the same size. Posey may be an inch bigger than David Mann. They're pretty much the same size, built very slight, both of them. As the tip controlled by the Tigers, and it's lost out of bounds. Really wasn't controlled, it was slapped out of bounds. It should be Hinton ball. Yeah, okay, they're going to give it to Hinton. As Tom Cobb will inbound it for the Bobcats. As Cobb holds it overhead, pulls the trigger inside to O'Neal. Gives it back to Cobb, drives the baseline. As Hansberger, checking it. Posey blocked the shot, took the ball away. Gets it over to Hansberger. Hansberger gives it back to Posey, and Posey takes it to the front court with 30 seconds on the clock. Back to Hansberger. To Jenkins on the left side. They go down low to Jeff Adams, 10, firing, no good. We got to travel. And that turns it over to the Bobcats. As O'Neal with the ball for the Bobcats. Moves it toward the front court and into the front court, into the key. He'll fire from 15 feet, good. 17 seconds to play now. 103-54 as Onsberger gets it to Schrader. Schrader into the front court with it for Princeton. Goes under, lays it up off the iron, no good. Rebound to Lethbridge with 7 seconds on the clock. Onsberger intercepts the pass. Fires from, no, he gives it over to Posey. He fires off the iron, no good. Put up by Jenkins. Jenkins puts it up and in. We had a whistle and a foul, but I don't think they're going to go with anything after the game's over, isn't it? So the final score, the Princeton Tigers 105, the Hinton Bobcats 54, as in the fourth quarter the Bobcats had 16 points, while in the fourth quarter the Tigers had 23 big ones. So the final score, Princeton 105, Hinton 54. We'll be back with more right after this. It's victorious here tonight, 105-54. Hinton had 4 quarters of 15 points, 11 points, 12 points, and 16 points for a total of 54 points. The Tigers put together 4 quarters of 24 points, 30 points, 28 points, and 23 points for a game total of 105. Final score, Princeton 105, Hinton 54. The Tigers go back in action now Friday, January the 18th, this coming Friday, when they go to Pineville, West Virginia, over in Wyoming County, to take on the Pineville Minutemen. The tip-off is 8 o'clock. We'll be on the air 10 minutes till 8. We'd like to see you put your face in the place and join us up there for a ball game. And we'll be having a little conference at the cowshed right prior to that. Everybody come on up. You know where the cowshed is, Bill? And we're going to be back with more wrap-up right after this. The Tigers picking up a big victory here tonight, leading their record on the season now to 3-3, as they were successful in defeating the Hinton Bobcats 105-54. And that may be the most lopsided victory that the Tigers have had in some time that I can remember for a while. Anyway, they just got it going, and actually in the fourth quarter when the bench was cleared, all underclassmen, the Tigers still put 23 points on the board. And Ralph Ball emptied the entire bench, and the entire bench, most of all of them in the scoring column, I believe. We'll find out later. Of course, Bob's got an awful lot of counting to do over there right now to get all of his stats ready. But the Tigers shooting well tonight. After they got off the mark, they started a little slow in the first 2 or 3 minutes, then they got it moving, started shooting well, started running with the ball, started rebounding with authority, passing crisply, and shooting well, and it was all over for the Bobcats. As for the second time this year, the Tigers defeated the Bobcats. Earlier this year up at Hinton, they defeated the Bobcats 98-49. And here tonight at Princeton, they defeated them 105-54. The earlier margin was 49 points. This one here tonight was 51 points, so a 2-point margin difference in the margin. Ann, are you able to game stats?
Sure am, Glenn. Second half stats, Princeton was 21 for 40 from the floor for about a 52% mark. Hinton was 10 for 31 for just right on 32%. Princeton hauled down 28 rebounds, Hinton 15. Princeton turned the ball over 6 times as compared to 8 times for Hinton. Game stats, Princeton put up 79 shots tonight, made 43 of them. Hinton put up 55 shots, making 19. Princeton shot very good 55%. Hinton shot 35%, which is not a good percentage, but fairly good considering that I think, especially in the middle of the game, they were very intimidated by Princeton's defense. James DeWitt, Jimmy Miller both blocking quite a few shots, and that had to be intimidating to the Hinton boys. Princeton led in the rebounding column, 46-33. Princeton turned the ball over 11 times total in the game. Hinton turning the ball over 24 times.
Now, as many shots as they took, 79 shots?
Right, 79.
11 turnovers. That's not bad.
No, it's not.
In fact, I'm sure Ralph will like that.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll like that 55%.
Yes, I will. He'll like that. I'm sure he will. But the Tigers, once they got rolling, got good shots.
They sure did. They were working the ball well, looking for the open people. Naturally, Jimmy Miller's 2 slam dunks helped their percentage somewhat. They capitalized many times when they got key turnovers and really worked the ball extremely well against him.
Okay, Bob, you ready on individual stats?
Yes, I am. And there were a lot of foul shots in this ball game. So
a lot of players in there, wasn't there?
Yes, sir. They're usually, well, in the last 2 or 3 games we've had at Huntington and Oak Hill, there haven't been too many players get in for the Princeton team. For Hinton, Jeff Williams had 1 field goal. He was 3 for 4 at the foul line for 5 points. T.J. Humphreys, who played a fine ball game for Hinton, had 3 field goals. He was 2 of 5 at the foul line for 8 points. Ryan had 6 field goals, 5 of 7 at the foul line for 17 points. And Herb Smith, the playmaking guard for Hinton, had 4 field goals, 1 for 4 at the foul line for 9 points. John Kells, the center, had 3 field goals. He was 3 of 10 from the foul line for 9 points. And other scores for Hinton was John O'Neill with 1 field goal for 2 points. David Mann had 1 field goal and 2 for 2 at the foul line for 4 points. Hinton shot 16 of 33 from the foul line. For Princeton, 3 players...
Wait a minute, 16 of 3, that's less than 50% from the free throw line.
Right, and well, of course, Wayne Kells had 3 of 10 from the foul line.
I'm sure they're going to be unhappy about that, aren't they?
Yes, I would think so.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, go ahead.
Well, Princeton did considerably better. They were 17 of 23 from the foul line. Jimmy Miller had 13 field goals. He was 4 of 5 from the foul line, 4 of 6 from the foul line for 30 points. Mike Eads had 6 field goals. He was 5 of 6 from the foul line for 17 points. Jeff St. Clair had 4 of 4 from the free throw line for 4 points. Stephen Murray came in and had 1 field goal in the 4th quarter for 2 points. Bill Harmon, who fouled out of the game, as did Stephon Murray, had 1 field goal and 1 for 2 at the foul line for a total of 3 points. James DeWitt had 10 field goals. He was 2 of 2 at the foul line for 22 points. Hansbarger, who came in and had 6 field goals and 1 for 2 at the free throw line and 13 points. Schrader came in and had 1 field goal and 2 points. Jenkins came in with 4 field goals for 8 points. And let's see, Jeff Adams had 1 field goal for 2 points.
So how many people does Princeton have in the scoring column now? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11?
11 people scored.
They almost had 12 people
Almost.
scoring. Jimmy Posey took a shot there late in the game. John Hansbarger had the wide open shot, but he passed off to Jimmy, trying to give Jimmy a chance to score, and it rolled right off the side of the rim.
That'd been good if they got all 12 up in the scoring column, wouldn't it?
Sure would.
As we're waiting for Coach Ralph Ball to come up, he's working on his way up. And that evens the Tigers' record 3-3. They go on the road against Pineville now. Of course, Bluefield next Wednesday night. Frankly, the game tonight, it does something for the morale and the courage, but Hinton was just completely outmanned, weren't they?
Oh, sure. They were out-talled. They were out-quick.
Do you see what Bob's got after you had to figure all that stuff out in longhand?
Last week it was dead.
Princeton had much more manpower than the Hinton squad did, I believe.
I think they did too, and of course, as Ralph Ball moves in to sit down with us, and we'll see if we can get a word of wisdom from Ralph or so. And Ralph, you had 11 men in the scoring column tonight.
Well, yeah, this team, well, they're a little down this year, and they're just not that good a ball team right now, Hinton is.
It seems like the Tigers started a little bit slow in the first 2 or 3 minutes or so, but then once they got it rolling, got the momentum going, they just really kept the fire all night.
Well, it really was more or less, I think, that we're just really learning how to play basketball. We got these young kids are just learning how to play, and you don't learn it overnight, and it's going. Hopefully, we can improve a bit every game, because we're just not. With what we got back, it's just a struggle right now. Our kids are hustling and they're improving, and I think by maybe 2 or 3 more games that we'll hopefully by mid-season we'll be a good basketball team. But we got so daggone much to learn. You can't do that overnight.
We were mentioning Teddy Spadaro, and I was talking at halftime a little bit about that, and mentioned the fact that the Tigers, after the game tonight, have really only played 6 of their season games. They're about 3 or 4 games behind most of the other teams around the area.
Oh yeah, and you take a team like Oak Hill. They had 5 starters back. They had exactly the same 5 back that played against us last year, and of course they were a good ball team last year. And when you start 4 seniors and 1 junior that started back for you, it's tough early in the year to face that type of competition. When we've got 1 boy and 4 just hustling in there trying to pick up as much experience as they can, and we lost both games against Beckley and Oak Hill both in the last probably couple of minutes. Nothing but inexperience is all it was. The kids did things that we either hadn't worked on, or I guess probably it's my fault more than anybody else's, things we hadn't worked on.
Now tonight, the Tigers were picking up a lot of fouls, and Coach, it's kind of hard to really make the youngsters play a disciplined defense when there's as much freelancing going on as there was tonight. The ball really moving around, and the Tigers doing about what they wanted to do when they wanted to. It's kind of hard to keep them in a disciplined pattern, isn't it?
Well, yeah, everybody wants the ball. It's easy that I think everybody wants to get the ball as quick as they can and either pass or shoot or what have you as quick as they can. And it's in that respect, it doesn't help you too much. But like I say, right now, it was a good game for us because we got a lot of offense going and we got our fast break breaking a little better and got some things worked out that we hadn't had a chance to work on before. And defensively, we tried to play man for man all the way, and we're not able to do that too much in ball games because we do get in foul trouble. We went ahead tonight and just played them all the way down that way.
Also, I noticed tonight that you were alternating your point guard, and John Osborne came in and did a very good job at the point guard position. And, of course, you were moving Murray and Harmon back and forth at the power forward over there, which I guess is developing depth off the bench as you'll need later on in the season.
Well, yeah, of course, Stefan's been playing for us quite a bit, and John it's a new position for him playing the point. He's filling in right now and trying to help us, give us a backup man there. He's really probably plays a little better on the wing than he does on the point. We got another young man that's going to be eligible maybe next couple of weeks that will help us a little bit on the point. It'll give us that is a point man, and I think that maybe he'll give us some, at least some backup experience in there, and maybe how much he can play, just a matter of him getting some game competition there and finding out.
And now, Friday night, you go on the road again, up to Pineville. Now, Pineville is a little bit down this year, but I would think that as a coach, up until tonight they were winless, that would probably scare me to death, because sooner or later they're going to break loose.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get hot one of these nights and wear somebody up, probably somebody they're not supposed to beat, and hopefully it won't be us. And playing down there and playing away from home, it's going to be probably a pretty tough game for us. We haven't had a chance to see them play, and they are not a big ball team. We played them in our summer camp this past summer, and they were there, and they got a bunch of boys that they're a better ball team than Hinton is. They'll give us more trouble than Hinton did.
And then next Wednesday night, you go across county to Bluefield, and of course I guess you'll start working on that one about Saturday morning, about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, after the Pineville game, we'll get ready for whoever it might be the next game.
Okay. But the Tigers did get a lot of balanced scoring. You got 4 good quarters tonight, 24, 30, 28, and 23. And I guess as a coach, this is what you're really looking for, the consistency throughout the game.
Well, right. And like I say, we just, our kids are really working hard, and they inherited something to defend, the state championship, and it's been very tough on them. And I thought against Oak Hill that they played probably their best game of the season, effort-wise, because Oak Hill's probably one of the better teams we'll be facing all year. And I thought our kids played real good against them. I was proud of them. Like I say, probably the last